day to one and all. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming back to yet another episode of Sometimes the Old Man is Right. As usual, I am your host, Lamont Ferguson, playing the role of the old man. I am currently in Juneau, Alaska. The capital of Alaska, by the way, for any of you kids out there listening, because I like to believe that this podcast is both humorous and educational. Are we, I don't know, are we still teaching state capitals these days? I hope so. I mean, I'm not really sure of the actual life usage importance, but I like it as a basic general knowledge for the kids to have. I don't know how much you retain. I happen to retain quite a bit because, as some of you hardcore Lamont Ferguson fans may know, I kind of pride myself on my state capital knowledge. And as you know, it did come in handy once, as it helped me get back into the country as a pop quiz was conducted by a U.S. border agent as I was coming back in from Canada. Maybe later I'll tell that story. But let's first take care of some of the compulsories. This is episode 30 of the big podcast. Imagine that. 30. That is over half a year of weekly podcasts. And yet, as you also know, I've not been actually regularly keeping it going on a weekly basis, but still not bad. The anniversary, I looked it up. It's coming up in a bit. It is September 24th. I don't know what that was. September 25th. I don't even know what I said there. But September 24th will be the anniversary, 1 year anniversary of the podcast. Sometimes the Old Man is Right. So I will try not to miss that date. But I can't make any promises. So here we are, the big 30. And I thank each and every one of you for listening to this madness that spills out of my head on a semi-regular basis. You're good people is what you are. Help me make it through 30 episodes of nonsense. We've had a good time. In my head right now is a little memory reel running right now in my head. And it's a good time. All the rocks collected by Olivia, and remember the whole Snowbee? Remember when Snowbee passed away? And all sorts of other nonsense. It'll be good. That I probably have to go back and listen to each one. That's torture, really, when I think about it. That I got to go back and listen to me to recap all the things that were said within the year for the big yearly. Oh my God. You know what? I can't even be here right now. Now that I realize how much work needs to be done for an anniversary episode. Good grief. I need a staff. Anyway. How you doing? How you been? What's the good word? I like to introduce a new one. What's up, podnas? What's up, podnas? I had posted, I guess earlier this week or last week, that I'd like to bring back the greeting, what's up, podnas? It's an old greeting. It's a black man greeting. I remember in the 70s, that's how black men, there was no what up, homie. Was it? Because homie didn't exist then. But there was, what's up, partner? How you doing, partner? What's up, partner? I remember as a kid, my dad would call me partner. It was actually the highlight of the day when my dad would say partner. And then sometimes I get a little jealous when he would call somebody else partner. Or maybe not partner, because I'm actually saying it correct, but partner. But my dad I think my dad may have said partner, because my dad was from Belize, which at the time used to be British Honduras. So it is one of the Central America countries there. And so he may have said partner, because they were very proper. The English was very well. It's weird because some of the English was proper, but because of the accent, some of the English was insane. Some of the things I didn't even know what they were saying. I don't know if I talked about this earlier, but when you would say year, they wouldn't pronounce the Y in year. So it would just be ear. And I remember one time my father said, can I take a look at the yearbook, or hand me the yearbook? I'm saying it correctly, but he would say, hand me the yearbook. And as a kid, I remember this to this day because it was a weird moment. I had a lot of the Dr. Seuss books, and one of the Dr. Seuss books, I think, was called the Yearbook. And I stood there for what seemed to be the longest time because I thought, why does he want to see my Dr. Seuss book? Like, that makes no sense that he would want to see that. And he repeated it again, and then I finally figured out what he was asking me for. There was a book on the table that was called the Yearbook. And so I finally handed it to him. But yeah, to this day, I still remember pass me the yearbook and me just being befuddled because of the accent of trying to figure out why this man wanted to see a child's book. Not only that, the book wasn't on the table. Like, he said, pass me the yearbook, and I thought, well, I got to go to my room to get this book. That makes no sense. Why is he asking these? Oh, it was such a paralyzing moment because I didn't want him to be mad at me. There was a lot of fear as a kid growing up. And now some of you may hear that and go, oh my goodness, there's trauma. No, it's just that as a child, you just didn't want your parents to be upset with you. And they seem to be upset a lot. That generation seemed to be upset a lot. I mean, it's frustrating raising kids, even this generation of parent, you get a little frustrated. I remember I was sitting on the plane recently. There was a young couple that sat next to me. They had one child. They were working everything they could to keep this child entertained. And then at some point, they just passed out and went to sleep. And the child was just sitting there causing all sorts of destruction. It's a baby. Like, the baby wasn't in a seat, so it was under 2 years old. But they tried everything. They gave the baby crayons and paper for the baby to color. And of course, that baby don't want to color in that book. That baby would rather color on the in-seat monitors that are there in front of them. And yeah, I'm all fired up because of the fact that these shitty parents are not even concerned with the idea that the kid is coloring the monitor. Because I always look at it as what takes place next. That may be one of my biggest faults, is realizing that there's a tomorrow. Because I believe there's a lot of people that operate like there is no tomorrow. Like, whatever is in this now moment right here, that's the only thing that matters. But I'm busy sitting there thinking, that would be me that got into that seat after this destructive baby and these shitty ass parents let their baby crayon all over and color and mark up the seat in front of me so that where I can't watch the screen because there's crayon all over the screen. That's what I'm busy thinking, because that's what happens to me. I know that that's exactly what would happen to me because, as I said many times before, my life is a Lucy episode. So I know. I'm surprised that I didn't get off that flight, even though it was the end of my destination. I reached my destination, and that they just turned me around and sit me right back in that seat. That's how crazy and expected that those types of situations are in my life. So these young parents then are knocked out, and that kid is going to town just crayoning, coloring, marking up that in-seat monitor. And the thing that got me is that, what were these kids? I'm calling them kids because they were young people. They were under 30. Why were they so exhausted? You had one child, and you are exhausted to the point where you couldn't stay awake on the flight. You went to sleep. Mom and dad both knocked out on the flight. What the hell were you doing? The hell is going on in your lives where you can't handle one child? That is one of those things where I look at and I say, man, this is insanity. You got one. I've seen on the plane many times. I've seen moms at their wits' end. 2 kids. That's it. Just 2. 2 kids on a plane. And she's looking at you got to help me. That mom was about to crack. I remember once that mom was about to snap. 2 kids. This is get the old man signal ready. This is an old man thing. When you look at now I get it. You look at previous generations, like we had 4 kids in our family. I don't know how we could have possibly have done it. I don't know how my parents did it. There was a moment in time, I think I've talked about this before, where I was the same age as my parents were when they had X amount of kids. And I had a reflection moment where I thought, oh, no, I could not have done that. That is insane. So I get why our parents were angry, but trying to make up for it, now you got parents of 1 child exhausted because they're too busy trying to keep this kid happy. I don't know where there's got to be a happy medium, because our parents, and that's, I'm old, I'm 57 for new listeners to the show. I get our parents were so disconnected from being the nurturing type of parents. They were overwhelmed with children. Like, hey, here's these children. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to make ends meet and keep a roof over their head and food on the table for these kids and clothes on their back. And it is a bit overwhelming back then if you're scrambling, because if you were middle class then, you were scrambling. There wasn't a time where you could sit down and take a break and go, oh man, this is great. Or even, like I said, I really don't know where we were. I don't know if we were middle class. Like I've said this before, where I know we had a lot of, we always had a roof over our heads. We always had clothes. We always had food. But the food was, it was very rarely that there'd be fast food. Fast food was a treat. I remember we'd go for some fast food. Man, that was something. Fast food. There was a lot of round steak, a lot of things smothered in cream of mushroom soup. Matter of fact, the round steak was smothered in cream of mushroom soup. There was liver, way too regularly. Liver would freak me out. Oh, even thinking about it right now. As a child, it was my most anxiety-filled moment. Even I think it would have to be on par with getting a whooping. It really would. A whooping, I knew that I did something wrong. I did something I was not supposed to do, and that was going to be the punishment. That's different. Liver was just thrust upon you. And I remember as a kid, I'd be sitting in my room, and then I'd smell the unmistakable smell of liver being cooked. And that was it. I couldn't think of anything else at all. Whatever I was watching on television didn't matter, because the anxiety level went through the roof. All I could think is, oh my God, how am I going to get this liver into my system? Because there were no options. Dinner is served. That is dinner. You either eat that dinner or you don't eat that dinner. And if you don't eat that dinner, then there was a problem too. You couldn't say, you know what, I'm not hungry, I'm going to pass on this one. Like, no, you sit down and you eat, and oh my God. Can you sense the anxiety right now? For a moment right now, I just went back to my room at 2074 Lee Place, Pomona, California, and I'm 9 years old, and I can smell the liver. My door is closed because I'm playing goofy games in my room. So my door is closed, so no one can bother me, but the smell of liver, the aroma of liver has wafted under the door and destroyed everything that is in my little kingdom that was my bedroom. I tried everything, man. I have not had liver. There's many things that I had as a kid that I will never have again because it reminds me of that moment of being a kid. And like I said, this whole conversation, is it a conversation? It's just me talking. This whole discussion started with me talking about classes and what you were in life. And like I said, I thought that we were middle class, but we may have not been, or maybe we were middle class then and it was just lower middle class. Like we had a house, you know, I think house equates with middle class. That's the way I look at it. So we had a house and we had food. It's just that it wasn't the most premium food. The good meals were good. Enchiladas. Oh my goodness. My mom could make some enchiladas like nobody's business. Chicken, of course, from fried chicken, taco night, pizza. My mom would make, sometimes she'd make a homemade pizza. You get the biscuit dough, you flatten that out and make a pizza. Oh my goodness. Fantastic. Lasagna, she'd do that. My mom could cook, but I don't know why liver always showed up. And I've never had liver since then, since I've not had to have liver. So we moved out of Pomona when I was 14. And then my mom kind of retired from cooking shortly after that. And there was no more liver and I was out. I tried everything. I tried everything to disguise the taste of liver. By the way, if you're listening, nothing can do it. And I tried stuff. I'm even afraid to tell you people this because you may just turn the thing off because you're so disgusted. But remember, I was 9. I was a kid. Sugar. That's sweet. That would help. No, it doesn't. It does not at all. Ketchup. And I'm not a fan of ketchup, but I would go ahead and try ketchup. And it just did not work. Oh. But those are the meals. Round steak, which I've never had since. Things smothered in cream of mushroom soup. I'll still throw some cream of mushroom soup on something because that's fine. Pot pies. We had a lot of pot pies, which I'll enjoy from time to time now. But those are the two main things: the round steak, the liver. Anyway, I don't know how we got here. Again, this is what happens. It's been 30 episodes of this. I have an outline, and then something happens that gets me walking down some sort of childhood memory lane. And then nonsense ensues. But these parents that were with their kids and they can't handle their kids, which actually does bring me to the topic that is next in line. So I am here in Juneau, Alaska. This is let's go. This is week 4 of 10. This is week 3 on this particular current ship. I'm on the home line, Holland America. I'm on the Westerdam. I'll be on here for 9 weeks. Prior to this, I was on Discovery Princess on Princess Cruise Line. I still have, this is week 4, so I still have 6 weeks to go after this week. This one is interesting, this group, because every itinerary has their own little interesting personality because it's made up of the passengers. Last week was fine. They were all fine. Good pickleball play last week. This week, full of kids. A large amount of kids for a Holland America ship. Holland America, if you don't know, is kind of an older line. It's catered towards older people. Within the cruise industry, they're like, oh, that's the old line, is Holland America. I don't mind it because they're adults. You know me. I like adults. I like people I need to talk to that are adults. But it's summer, and it is Alaska. That is a bucket list type of event. So, and I'm sure there are sales. So people are bringing their kids because the kids are out and maybe it just matches up, whatever the itinerary is, and the price is right. And like I said, so then these are, it's summertime, so kids are out of school. So here we are with a lot of kids on this particular week. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. These are some badass kids on here. Look, this is only day 2, and I'm looking at them, and these are some badass kids on this one. There are kids, I've got to stay in my room because I'll get fired because I know I might say something. I'm going to say something to the kids. The kids are going to say something to the parents, and then I'm going to tell their parents to their face, you're shitty parents because you got some badass kids. But I need to stay in my room and just go back and forth to pickleball because that's what needs to be done. Because this is ridiculous. I was on earlier today going out to try and get something to eat for breakfast or lunch or whatever it was. And there's a group of kids. I said this in the last episode. There's an amoeba on here. A couple of the amoeba. The amoeba, for those who are tuning in new, that didn't listen to the previous episode, the amoeba is the group of teens or children that move as a unit throughout the ship as the cruise goes on. Sometimes the largest group is 10, but no smaller than a group of 7, maybe. So the amoeba is on here. They're all moving around. Then there's another little smaller group of kids. Their thing earlier today was just elevator riding, just up and down in the elevator. You get to a point where the elevator is like, hey, I'm on the top deck, and then I'm going down. They come up. You wait. Are you guys getting out? Oh, no. They're just riding up and down the elevator, getting out, going into the next one. Which I know. How could that bother me? Well, one, it bothers in the amount of time because you're taking up the elevator and you're pushing buttons on the elevator that delay the time. There's not an infinite amount of elevators on a ship, and there's a lot of people. So you're riding up and down the elevator like that's your entertainment. And then I got on and, they seem nice enough. They're doing kid stuff. I just don't know where these parents are that just turn these people loose. For the rest of us, how are you not knowing where these kids are? It's a pretty big ship. And a ship can be a dangerous place. Things could happen. You might want to know where they are. But no, these parents, I've never seen the parents of these kids. All I've seen are the kids. Heck, as far as I know, the kids may have booked the cruise. Maybe kids have booked the cruise on their own. But they're riding up and down in the elevator. They're annoying me because of their existence. No, because I don't hate kids. I just don't like badass kids. And then, like I said, they seem nice enough. Because I got on and they said, oh, so where are you from? And I said, well, grew up in San Diego. I now live in Long Beach. And then I said, well, where are you from? And they said, Nebraska. And it was funny because my initial thought was, oh, well, now it makes sense why you're riding up and down in the elevators. Because I've never been to Nebraska, but it's just your regular hack thought of this must be fancy technology for you. Do you have any high-rise buildings in Nebraska? You didn't even give me a city. You just gave me the state. We're from Nebraska. Like most of the time, they asked me where I was from. I gave them 2 cities. They just gave me a state. And then I just went about my business. But I'm not a fan of badass kids. And it's really not the kids' fault. Like, I thought about this a little while ago. There are people around that say, I'm puzzled by people that say that they don't like children. That is always puzzling to me. Adults, I saw some, when did I see some? When I did the show at the fair a couple of months ago. Young people, they go, yeah, we're not big fans of children. Because I asked, who has children? And they go, we're not fans of children. And then they ask that question of, oh, well, do dogs count? I'm like, no, of course dogs don't count. The fact that you even had to ask, as if I'm part of the council that makes that decision, or I'm in tune with how that a new word came down. They go, do dogs count? Well, you're not going to believe this. This just in, dogs do count as children. Yeah. I don't know if you tuned in, but I seem to be tuned in to the pulse of whatever this council is that makes the decision on what and what is not children. Dogs are now in. But they ask, yeah, are dogs? I go, no, they don't count. They don't count. I don't care how many times you people talk about, oh, they're my fur babies. Look, this is again what I talked about in the last episode. Just because you keep repeating it doesn't make it a fact. What about my fur baby? Can you say fur babies all you want to? Not the same thing. You convince yourself. But those of us with sense, that's me on this side, no, jackass. But there are people who don't like children. I am puzzled by those people. Then I realize why they don't like children. Because my thought was always, how do you not like something that you were? Like you do understand that you were a children, right? I know the conjugation's wrong, but go with me on this. You were a children. You were a child at some point in your life. You were around other children. Did you not like those children? Did you not like yourself? What is it about children now as an adult that you can't stand do you even look at other pictures, like pictures of yourself when you were a child, and just, get those away from me? Like, that's you. I can't stand that whole phase of my life. And what I realize is people don't dislike children. People dislike shitty parents. That's what makes you dislike children, is shitty parents. And now that makes sense, because there is a whole bunch of shitty parents out there. Good grief, what are you doing? We don't want to be involved with your children. We don't. We don't want any part of your children. Yeah, your children are adorable to you, not to the rest of us. We don't find them fascinating. We find our children fascinating. Your children are a nuisance. Do you understand that? Your children are a nuisance until they're accepted by grown people as being well-behaved children. That's actually how it works. But people think, oh, my child is special. To you, your child is special. No one else. Why is that impossible to get through your thick head? But there are a whole bunch of shitty parents out there. I talk about this in my act where I say that we are part of that last generation that was raised under the whole adage that children are to be seen and not heard. That was the whole adage as a child growing up. Seen, not heard. In a way that your opinion didn't count, your whatever you thought didn't count, whatever you had to say didn't count. And I understand that that's an extreme, because there are times I talk to children, I talk to my children, and I would like to hear what they have to say. And I would like to understand where they're coming from, what is going on, because I've forgotten what it's like to be that age and hear things going on. And I would like for them to be able to express their feelings so I can understand what they're going through. I get it. I get that the generation I grew up with, or that raised me, was way on the other side. I do get that. But still, maybe have that be welcomed in. Maybe have the door opened for that before you walk in. Because other than that, no one cares. 2 kids I've seen back-to-back weeks that were, this is going to be a little hyperbole, amazing kids. There was a kid, Henry, 2 weeks ago that I don't know if I talked about him. And there was a kid last week, Elliot. Elliot's 10. I think Henry was about 10 as well. 2 of the most well-rounded, well-behaved kids that I'd ever seen. Back-to-back. 2 weeks in a row. And if you want to find out what it is that they know, I would welcome them. Adults would go, hey, what do you know? Because they were respectful. They weren't just blurting stuff out just for the sake of, oh, look at me, I need attention because my parents give me attention and think that I'm the greatest thing ever. They, just good kids. 2 good kids. Not related. Like I said, 2 separate weeks. But this week, we have the anti-Henry and the anti-Elliots on board. And whoever their parents are, the anti-parents of Henry and Elliot is what it is. Next up, look at me. I've already talked for 30 minutes. Are you still listening? I don't even know if I'm still listening to whatever this is, but I appreciate you. Pickleball's still been going strong. Got a good group. Today was the first day of being able to play some pickleball because the first day on the cruise is usually bad weather. And yesterday was horrific weather. It was super windy, like gale force type of wind, and cold. So there was no way you're going to play any pickleball up there. Today was a good morning. Pickleball scheduled for 9 a.m. Good morning up there. I went up, found a squeegee. Look, I did all the job. This is part of my job now. I go up there, I squeegee off the court, I get all the water out of the way, maybe run a towel over it. Doing all the stuff that someone on the ship should be doing. But I'll do it. I don't really care. What else am I doing? I work 90 minutes a week, people. 90 minutes a week. And I'm paid for that 90 minutes, let's be truthful, an obscene amount of money to work 90 minutes. It really is. I'm very blessed and very fortunate, but I'm realistic that it is an obscene amount of money that I make in 90 minutes. So I'll do that. I'll go out in the morning, get it ready, and had some good pickleball players up there. Some actual real pickleball players. Most of the time it's a couple of pickleball players and then people that are interested in playing the game and then a couple of kids that just want to play and stuff like that. These were adults that were real and that were they weren't serious. I've never really seen the serious pickleball players. I'm sure they exist, but fortunately on the ship I've never really seen the hard competitive pickleball players. These are folks that just really enjoyed playing. So it's going to be nice. We had a really competitive game, the last game that we lost, but we came all the way back. It was, what was it? It was 7-0 at one point in time. And we made it all the way back and lost 11-8. So it was good. Good times. I will say this, I may be a little too deep into pickleball, people, because now I'm following all the pickleball things on social media. I get them in my feed. I'm looking at the game, watching the game being played at the professional level, thinking, oh, maybe, can I get that good? It is just reflexes. It's a little foot movement, so I'm a little limited on that. But let me see what I can get to. Let me see what I can do. But now I'm too deep. I'm too deep because I'm learning too many things. I didn't know. I just thought, hey, get the ball back over the net. Play the game at the kitchen line. I pick up things as I go along. Get the ball back over the net. Get to the kitchen line. Return of serve. Put it deep and put it low. And then get to the kitchen line. But now there's third shot drop. What? I don't know what that is. So the third shot, now I'm counting shots. Okay, is the first shot the serve, and then the second shot's the return, then the third shot is the drop? I don't know. It's a little too confusing. Pickleball may be a little too complicated for me, to tell you the truth, at this point in my life. But I'm in. I like the nuances of the game. Anyone who's ever seen me break down the basketball play, you know I'm into the nuances. I'm into the whole, not analytics, but into the entire structure of the game. So bring on the third shot drop, whatever that is. If you can explain it to me, go ahead and email the show at oldmanisright@gmail.com. Because I may be in too deep. but I've picked it back up. I took a day or two off of doing the workout. I don't know how much weight I've lost. You know, I'm treating this like it's fat camp. I don't know how much weight I have lost, but I've lost a bit. And I can tell that by my clothes and by my belt loop. Here's the problem, though. I have a lot of weight to lose, but it's a mental thing. Because, look, I'm going to tell you the truth, people. This is what happened to me, and it was so sobering, so embarrassing and sobering. It was only embarrassing because I took a moment to look at myself and go, look what happened to you. Look what you. So I had lost weight. I don't know how much, but a bit. And then when you lose any type of weight and it's noticeable to yourself, your self-esteem goes through the roof. You start feeling like, oh, well, look at me. I must be cute. All the weight I've lost. That's what started happening to me mentally. I started thinking like, man, oh man. I started having goals that are not going to take place. Because the belt loop was the first thing. Like, I am so far past what the other belt notch was. I was like, man, this is a new territory for me on the belt holes. Is it loops? I don't even know. With the belt holes and the loops thing. That sounded a little Cosby. With the belt holes and the loop things. With the belt holes and the loops. I was in uncharted water. Matter of fact, I'm looking at it, I'm like, look at me. There's only 3 holes left. I may have to go like and I did as a kid, what my grandfather would do and put a new belt hole in there. That's how thin I'm getting. Look at me, looking all cute. I'm a cute girl is what I am. I'm going to start putting up booty pictures on Instagram. That's how much weight I've lost. Nobody can tell me anything. I'm cute. I'm a hot girl. It's what I am. It was outlandish, people. It was only to myself. Well, now I've told you. But it was outlandish. I thought, look at me. I thought, oh, man, I wonder if I could get abs. I never had abs in my entire life, people. I've never once had abs. There's an earlier episode where I talk about how I have battled weight, or at least the image of weight, all my life. When I was skinny in high school and after high school, I still had the image in my head that I was fat. Because before puberty, I was a husky kid. Husky. Those were the clothes that were bought for me. The husky department. I wasn't a fat kid. I was a husky athletic kid that hadn't hit puberty or grown yet. And then I did grow and I hit puberty and there was a big growth spurt and then I wasn't husky anymore. But I still had that mental self-image. So this has been a battle my entire life. But I was out of control in my head thinking, man, I wonder if I can get a 6-pack, get some abs. That'd be nice. I'm 57 years old. All of a sudden now we're just going to check. What am I, Carrot Top? I'm going to all of a sudden just change my entire body because I picked up pickleball and I'm on a ship for 10 weeks. And this is what brought me back. Elliot's mom, because Elliot was playing pickleball, the 10-year-old from last week. Elliot's mom was out there and she took pictures of her son, Elliot. And I was on Elliot's team. And then she tagged me in those photos. And this is my own joke coming back to haunt me. Like, I don't understand why the camera and the mirror aren't seeing the same thing. You know that joke if you're a big Lamont Ferguson fan. Because I busy thinking that I'm a hot IG model girl in my head, or at least well on my way to being one. Saw these pictures of myself. I'm like, whoa. Who is that? Where's the hot girl? Where does she go? That's that dude that I see every day. That's the dude I tried to get away from. What is that monster doing in there? And that's when I was like, You got duped. You got duped by a 15-pound weight loss and being in uncharted territory on belt notches. Time to come back to the earth. Time to stop flying around in hot IG booty pic girls life. That ain't you. You come back here. You are a husky 57-year-old man life. That's what you are. So that is what happened to me this week. Insanity. I was ready too. Get yourself some booty shorts. I know that's a disturbing image. Even for comedy-wise, that was a disturbing image for me to say. I apologize. The other thing, while we start to wind this nonsense down, is one night I went to sleep relatively early. I don't know, may have been in the 9 o'clock hour. The thing on the ship is that it will turn you into an old person in a hurry. Because I'm really trying to, like I said, treat this like fat camp. So I'm trying to be mindful of what it is that I'm doing. I get up in the morning, I work out, I go play pickleball, take my shower, and then kind of hang out for the rest of the day, relax, try to do some writing if I can. I will eat early because I don't want to eat late. Now, I've known this all my life because I used to eat late. And every morning I'd wake up, I'd feel miserable. Every morning. And so I started, you be mindful. You're like, hey, don't eat late. But then it becomes the thing where like, no, I'm really hungry. I got to eat. And then you eat and then you go right to bed. It's the worst thing you could possibly do because your body's not going to burn off any of those calories. You're just going to sleep. So this has also been a battle my entire life where I try to fight that urge to eat and then go to sleep. I know a lot of times for many years, I couldn't eat before I perform. And then after I perform, I am starving, absolutely starving. And sometimes when I think about it, I go, you're not really hungry. You've just conditioned yourself to think that you're hungry because you eat after you work. And so I'm mindful of it. I try not to do it, but being on the ship, good grief, I will go eat like at 5:30 and then be done. That's a wrap for the day. So I'm like I said, it makes you old. Like I'm eating the early bird special. What time is dinner? I'm sitting here. It's 3:25. I'd like to eat dinner. I'd like to have some supper. It's 3:25 in the afternoon, people. Come on. Where's the dinner? But I ate early. I didn't really sleep well. So I started feeling my body crashing. So I fell asleep somewhere around 9. I woke up at 2. And, that's a good amount of sleep. That's 5 hours of sleep. So I couldn't go back to sleep. And I decided to watch one of the things that I've downloaded off of Netflix. And it was the David A. Arnold special called It Ain't for the Weak is what it's called. It Ain't for the Weak. Now, I don't know David Arnold. There's something inside of me that says I may have met him earlier in my career, but I'm not really sure. So I'm going on the idea that I've not. But I watched his previous special, Fat Ballerina, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Just absolutely thoroughly enjoyed. So now I'm watching this special, and good grief. So good. So good. I've done this for 40 years. If you don't know, well, now you know. I've been a stand-up comic for 40 years. It takes a lot, and it's rare that anything that I see will inspire me within my craft. And that special did. My goodness, I was so fired up after that. The only way I could describe it is when Jerry Seinfeld walked away from his television show, and then he really wasn't doing much stand-up. He semi-retired from stand-up. And Chris Rock did Bring the Pain. And Seinfeld said he was watching Bring the Pain, Chris's performance of Bring the Pain, and it made him think, I'd like to be able to do that. And then he dawned on him, wait, I do that. And it kind of got him more excited about to come back and do stand-up. That's what David A. Arnold's It Ain't for the Weak did for me in that moment. Now, I do this. I'm doing it now. And I have a whole bunch of notes where I'm like, hey, I'd like to work on the next hour, but I'm on the ship. You can't do all the stuff that you would like to do in the next hour. So you just kind of put it aside and not get around to it. But when I watched that special, I was like, I want to go on stage right now. I want to take my notes. I want to go up on stage right this minute. I want to be up now. And I want to start writing now. And it was that type of impact on me. It was very good. Just a good slice of his life performance. So I highly recommend it. Watch Fat Ballerina first. David A. Arnold, Fat Ballerina, follow that up with It Ain't for the Weak. I went on to Twitter because I wanted to send him a note to just say, hey, I watched the special. It was fantastic. So I was looking for it. When you just doing a search, so I typed in David A. Arnold, and the first thing that popped up was some dude. I know his first name's Sammy. I don't remember his last name. Sammy Gonzalez. Now I remember. Sammy Gonzalez had tweeted, because, it was a whole catch-all of anything that said David A. Arnold. It said, can somebody please recommend me a Netflix special that isn't a bunch of fucking whining? Bill Burr and David A. Arnold are just, in parentheses, I'm old, I'm mad, close parentheses, rants. And that was the first thing I saw. And I thought, man, once again, social media shitting on people's happiness on a regular basis for the last 14 years. That sat with me for a bit because I thought many things. I thought, one, this is an old versus young thing. The idea that it's I'm mad, I'm old thing is preposterous. I have said this before. I will say it again. This is I'm going to quote myself. Stand-up comedy is a young man's game, young person's game, but it's an older person's art form. That's really what it boils down to. Whenever I'm watching anyone do stand-up and I see a 20-year-old go up there and they're talking about life as they see it, I'm like, I got no interest in this. You're 20. In 15 years, your perspective will change completely. Now, if you're telling me that this is what you know about life in your broadband reality, then okay, I'll listen. But when they start speaking like, this is what I know about life, this is how life works, I don't want to hear what you have to say, because you don't know shit about life. And I get it. We were all there. I understand it. But also the idea that you listen to these guys and go, they're mad, they're old, or the way I got out of it is that he was saying that they're mad because they're old. You don't get it. Older people aren't mad because they're old. You make it seem like older people are mad at young people because they're young, and older people are old. Older people are not mad because we're old. We're not. We're not mad at young people because we are old. We're mad, if we are at all, at young people because you don't think it's going to happen to you. That's why. It's about perspective. It's the only war, if you want to put a war of old versus young, where young people don't get it because you've never been old. And by the time you get old, I would love to hear you or watch you take a look at some of the things you used to say and not cringe and go, oh my God, I can't believe I thought that. And old people go, yeah, you did. We do believe that you thought that because we had to sit here and listen to you spout it as if it was an authority. That's why you would think that old people are angry, and we're not. We happen to be able to look at life in a skeptical type of way where we can laugh at the absurdities of life, and you can be angry and frustrated with it and still find it humorous. Like none of those guys, if you sat down and talked to them, myself included, if you were talking to, because I have a cranky disposition on stage as well. If you talk to us, you wouldn't go, oh, they're angry. Like, no, we're not. We're just telling you about the absurdity of life, and it gets you a little fired up when you're talking about it. But we don't live life as being angry. We live life as going, all right, I'm going to get this absurdity out so it doesn't sit inside and fester. So I can actually live a happy life because I'm looking at things and I go, oh, look at these badass kids. But the idea that there are young people that you're just, it is funny that he put that isn't whining. Because my other thought was, is there anyone whinier than young people? Holy crap. You're the next to a baby that is actually whining. You are the whiniest group. Oh, what you don't have. Oh, what the other generation did. Oh, what this and that. You're the whiniest group of people that anyone has ever seen. And yet you say the older people are whining. They're not whining. They're lamenting. Pick up a goddamn dictionary and then you can understand the difference between the two. Literally. But that is the weird battle between young and old, is the idea that you've not been on this side and we've been on your side. We've been you. And now we're this. And the idea that you think that's never going to happen to me. Believe me, I'm 57 and I still can't believe that. Because we refer to ourselves in the third, but like by whatever nickname. Like I wake up in the morning, I go, I can't believe the kid is 57. How's the kid? I'm the kid in this scenario. How's the kid 57? Because that's how life works, dude. That's how it works. We all become older. I said the peak is 28, where both things are peaked. Physical and mental meet at 28. Here's the problem after 28. Physical starts to decline, but mental wisdom continues to rise. That's how life works. Mental wisdom continues to go up. Physically, you peak at 28. That's where they both cross. That's where X is. So that's why when we say things, our mental wisdom has gone up. You may look at it as that we're old and feeble because we physically cannot do what you are able to do. But mentally, we could do a lot more than what you are able to do, which includes seeing both sides because we've been there. Mark Twain put it best. When I was a boy of 14, my father was so ignorant, I could hardly stand to have the old man around. But when I got to be 21, I was astonished at how much he had learned in 7 years. That is one of the greatest quotes because it crystallizes everything about the whole old versus young. Except now that those ages aren't, at 21, the kids are not that developmentally that wise to understand that their dad actually, or older people, let's not even say their dad, just to say older people know things. Because today, I think a 14-year-old and a 21-year-old mentally the same. I believe they think exactly the same. That's why I say that I don't consider you to be an adult till you're 35. So it gets pushed all the way up to 35 now, which means you got a long way to wait before any of these young people come around. A long way. Fortunately, today's age is a lot of technology, so we could actually record some of these people and then show them later if we're around. And then maybe they'll understand. I don't even know why they would need to understand. Because it's not like, are you keeping track of victories? Really? Seriously? I just know this is how life works, and eventually they will come around. I guess a couple of more items that I've seen that are on the little list here. This is a weird thing that I saw was do-it-yourself caskets. There is a company that will allow you to design your own casket. In this article, one of the quotes from the people that have done it said, "We had so much fun." That is so morbid and macabre that I can't even think how that would be. I don't know if that would be fun. Hey, what are we doing today? We're going to go down to the IKEA type store, put together our own casket, see how we'd enjoy it being inside the casket. Why? You enjoy it? You're dead. You're not going to be, there's no enjoyment. Is it for aesthetics? How you're going to look in the casket? By the way, I'm very well aware that within the past minute, I've used the word macabre and aesthetics. I don't know who's listening to this podcast. I'm sitting here using these words with the people that think I'm whining. The macabre. It's a weird word how that's spelled. Macabre. Isn't that right? Or macabre. Macabre. Brett Favre. Anyway. Are you going down? Are you getting the casket? The do-it-yourself casket? Is this what we need? I mean, I understand death is a huge market. It's a huge market because everybody's got to die. Everybody at some point has got to go. So it is a viable market, but still, do-it-yourself casket. You're going to build your own casket. That's where this is exactly how they wanted it. They wanted this casket. Look how peaceful he looks in his race car bed. I don't even know. I don't know. And like I said, is it an IKEA type thing? Is it that way? Where you got the whole... Who's putting it together? Do you put it together? When do you put it together? Do you put it together when you're healthy? Because by the time you're sick, you're not going to be able to sit there and follow all those instructions. And you're going to have to try twice because I've assembled many IKEA. Never once have I put an IKEA furniture piece together. Right first time. Just done. Not once. Can you imagine your casket? You're like, oh, I'll get around to it. And then boom, you don't get around to it. Or if you leave it for other people to oh my goodness. Wouldn't that be something? You leave it for other people to assemble? Oh, I don't think this is a good idea at all. The do-it-yourself cat. There's a lot of questions. You think helping someone move is annoying. Hey, you want to come on over? Help me put together my casket? Or like I said, if you left the instructions for them. And then what if you're missing a page, huh? What if you're missing a page? Oh, great. I guess we're going to bury you on this plank. Anyway, the do-it-yourself casket is a thing. It's upon us. And I think finally is, man, I'm still more angry at baseball. This is on my notes, but I'm like, you guys have heard enough of me going crazy about baseball. I was watching a game Sunday night. The ESPN Sunday night baseball crew is unlistenable. They talk about everything but the game. People talk about how we're losing fans. We got to get the young people in. We're losing fans. You're losing fans because you guys don't get it. I don't want to. This is beating a dead horse. I'm sorry about this. Because I don't know how many episodes there are of me talking about baseball, for crying out loud. But I grew up with, and I love the game of baseball. It's not my favorite sport, but I love it. I don't even know where it would rank, but there is an equal amount of love for the sports that I love. Basketball is at the top. Baseball is underneath that. I like football. I'm not really much into football. I mean, I understand the game and I'll watch it, but I'm not much of a football person where, oh my goodness, I got to watch football. I'll watch my team, which is the Chargers. So I'll watch them, but I'm not gung-ho with that. Oh my goodness, I got to join a fantasy team. I'm not that. And I can't stand the fantasy things anyway. People that couldn't play the game. Crying out loud. But as a kid growing up, I'd listen to baseball on the radio and I'd do my homework. And I was living outside of LA and I was a big Dodger fan. And I got to listen to the great Vin Scully. And Vin Scully would paint a picture that I could get lost in with those pictures with words of what was going on at the game, what the situation was at that particular at bat, what is going on. And you just get lost in it. And it was very descriptive. And then sometimes Vin Scully would give you a little background about the batter or the pitcher that you're like, oh, I didn't know that. Or, oh, that's very interesting, or something like that. These jackasses on Sunday Night Baseball, it's about everything and anything that has nothing to do with the game. And nothing that's interesting about the background of the person. I don't like the fact that they talk to people while they're in the game. Leave them alone. Let them play the game. If you can talk to somebody while they're playing the game, that game must not be that difficult. And baseball is hella difficult. It is extremely difficult. But we got to get the fans in on it. Why? So you can talk to the outfielder and find out what restaurants he likes to go to? Come on, man. This is why the game is fading. But I will still love it right up until the end. Like I said last week, they've made this not baseball anymore. But I'll hang with it until it's over. Because I still have that romantic association with the game of baseball. But those guys on ESPN, Carl Ravitch, Eduardo Perez, they're trash. For crying out loud. They're just trash. Eduardo Perez grew up. He is the son of Tony Perez from the Big Red Machine in Cincinnati. This guy should know better. I don't care about Exit Velo. I don't care about whatever it is you guys think is funny. I don't. Tell me the game. You want to do something? Tell the kids how the game is played. Then they'll understand what is going on. But nobody cares that the dude is a foodie and check out his Instagram where he just takes pictures of food. He's playing baseball right now. That's what he's doing right now. Maybe try to find out how he came up in baseball. If you're going to find out, to ask baseball questions. Why are we going to you guys to ask non-baseball questions when you're right there talking to a guy who's playing the game? Yeah. Anyway, I will ride or die with baseball, but I will watch Sunday Night Baseball with the sound muted. Folks, I've gone on. It's a super long episode. I don't even know what's happening here. It was insane, all the stuff I talked about. I didn't even know if I had a show in me. That's the thing about it, is I'm now just waiting until I feel like I have a show in me. It could be every week. It could be like right now. What is this? 10 days? 10 days since the last one? So that ain't bad. I just figure out whenever the creative juices flow, I'll give you a show. Or whatever this is. Is it a show? I don't even know. I think that about wraps it up. Juneau, we don't even leave here for another 3 hours, 4 hours. Tomorrow it's go take a look at some glaciers. I actually work tomorrow. We've changed the schedule to where I was doing 2 shows on one night and then 1 show on the final night. And now they've changed it to doing 3 I'm working 3 nights, 3 separate nights. And I normally would work tonight, but they've changed the schedule to where I work tomorrow night, which actually works better because that's Glacier Day. So no one can get off the ship and people will be at the show. I mean, the people have been at the shows prior. So it's not been a lack of people, but there have been people at the shows. But this should be a little better. I think that people should be primed and ready for a big show. So I work tomorrow night, the night after, and then the final night, which that final night I'm not sure about. Final night, they had me scheduled at 7:45. We get to a port at 8 o'clock. So technically in the middle of my set, there would be an announcement. Oh, the ship has been cleared. Like you're going to give that announcement in the middle of my set. So maybe somebody had an idea about that. And they went, hey, how about we put you on at 7? I'm like, oh yeah, that works much better. So 7 o'clock, I did the show last Sunday or Saturday. Was perfect, packed. Everyone had a nice time. It was a fun type of show, fun crowd. And then when I'm done, there's still time for them to get ready because we're still not even at the port yet by the time I'm finished. This week, they decided, hey, we'll put you on at 9, which doesn't make me too happy because now it means I can't get off in the port. Now, granted, I don't get off at the port in Victoria anyway. But if I wanted to, I can't because 9 o'clock is in the middle of that time. We have to be back on the ship at 11:30. You get here at 8, so I couldn't go before. If I go afterwards, what am I going to do? Walk out for a half hour, turn around, and come back? So, and no one's going to be on the ship. I walked around the ship last week on that particular time, at particular day, Saturday, at 9 o'clock. They were showing a movie. There were 11 people in the movie theater. They had the piano folks playing. There were 20 people at the piano bar listening to those people. So you're going to put me on to do what? Split up the 31 people now into give them another option? It makes no sense, but that's going to have to be rectified. So we'll see about that. Other than that, time marches on. We trudge along. All things Lamont Ferguson can be found at the website lamontferguson.com. You can go to the YouTube page, which I believe is TV Funny Man 99. And you can find old things. It's really what you can find. I was busy thinking about what can you find there. You'll just find content is what you'll find. Old content, some of the segments that I've done that are what I'm saying is, which I'm working on a new one right now. What I'm saying is you can find the Now Normal there. You can find other stuff that's there. I appreciate each and every one of you, as I said prior, for tuning in whenever you tune in to hear this nonsense. I greatly, greatly appreciate you. I will be out here to sea for another 6+ weeks. And then we shut it down. End of September, I will be in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So now you've had ample warning. Edmonton, Alberta, Canada for the Edmonton Comedy Festival. I will be out there. So Edmontonians, get ready. Get ready. I'm a-coming. End of September. You can email the show at oldmanisright@gmail.com. I don't know why in my head I think I'm questioning that. I don't believe I put the old man is right. I believe it is oldmanisright@gmail.com. It's 30 episodes and I still don't know the show's email address. This is very pathetic. I talked about a lot of stuff. I don't even know what it was. It was, as Lionel Richie said when he won all of those Grammys, outrageous. It was out of control this week, this episode. I talked about the badass kids and shitty parents and liver. There was way too much time spent on liver, I know. But it was very traumatic. Some of the things I may have been wrong about. I'm trying to think. Maybe I'm wrong about liver. I doubt that. If if the liver lobby is out there, I apologize to you. Or the round steak lobby. I apologize to you fine folks. I don't apologize to you shitty parents. I don't apologize to that. So there may be some of the things I may be wrong about. You know how old people are, for crying out loud. We talk about stuff because I guess we're mad because we're old, right? Sammy Gonzalez, if that is your real name. What's your story? Maybe I'm wrong about some of those things. But you know the drill. Sometimes the old man is right. I'll see you next episode.